Yo, shalom, shalom. You are not tuned in to All That Ra-Ra with your Hebrew brother Milo Judah, or Brother Judah, whatever you want to call me. It makes no difference. I'll answer to both of them. But yes, All That Ra-Ra, and Ra-Ra stands for Real and Rare Analysis. And today's episode is going to be called Why is Interracial Dating Such a Big Deal? Because in the so-called black community, we tend to see whatever race is dealing with, whatever gender is dealing with another race, typically the so-called white race, we tend to see the next gender feel some type of way about it and feel as if they have to speak on the next person's decisions. So with that being said, brothers, I found a backdrop for us to go over, and we're going to handle that. And with that being said, let's get to analyzing. Shalom.
How many of you have dated outside of your race? How many of you would be willing to date outside of your race? How many of you are not willing to date outside of your race?
So this is something that I definitely wanted you brothers to pay attention to. Most women in here have dated outside of their race. More than half of them are willing to date outside of their race. And when he asked how many of them are not willing to date outside of their race, what you saw 3 or 4 hands go up at the most. So I just want brothers to pay attention to this, because the liberal black woman loves to speak on the so-called black man situation. And but she hates for the so-called black man to speak about her situation. But in our reality, who is the head? Who is the head? So, come on, let's move forward.
Okay. All right. Well, Serena Williams, Eve, Rihanna have all found love across the racial divide. More and more black women, of course, seem to be willing to follow in their footsteps. Wendy Harlow, should black women date outside their race?
So he chose Serena Williams, Rihanna, and Eve. For brothers who pay attention to Serena Williams, we know that she is extremely toxic. The toxic femininity with hers is ridiculous. And Rihanna, isn't Rihanna dating A$AP Rocky at the moment? Because we all know that she's a whore, so there's no telling who she's going to be dating next. But point being is that she's dating a so-called black man, and I don't pay attention to Eve. No disrespect to the sister, but I don't pay attention to Eve. But this sister, Wendy Harlow, most people know her from America's Got Talent. America's Next Top Model, excuse me. And she's my age. She's 26, going on 27. Her birthday is July 27, 1994, just like mine. So let's see what she has to say.
Black women and all women should date whoever they want to date. I was raised in a home by a single black woman. My mom and my father, my whole life, have had an amazing relationship. They raised me separately, but cordially. In this time of my mom being single, I've obviously met a lot of her boyfriends.
Right. And see, that's the problem. A lot of our women are single, which, life happens. You can't blame that on all of them, but most of them, are just contentious and hard to deal with. But the point I was making was, she said she met a lot of her mother's boyfriends, which is a horrible thing. That's not something good to say, because, that's where a lot of sexual abuse comes from, a child's confusion. It comes from seeing her mother with a lot of different men in and out of the house. Brothers, if you ever meet a good woman who happens to have a child, it's going to take a hot second for you to meet that child, right? For the so-called black woman, the liberal black woman, her door is usually a revolving door for men, and therefore her child grows up very confused, as this sister. And
they were multiracial. She dated black guys, she dated white guys. So I think for me, it was something that I was taught that, all people are equal and everyone deserves love. I've personally dated outside of my race. I've dated black guys, I've dated white guys. And I don't think those aspects of them altered what went right or wrong in our relationships. I think whatever our disputes were happened to do with the type of person that I am and the type of person that he was as a person, not as a race.
Well, we all have preconceived notions about another race. We all have prejudices about another race, so that's pretty hard to believe, especially understanding that most so-called white people and most so-called black people feel a type of way about each other. So it's just very difficult for me to believe that, the other individuals of other nations that she was in a relationship with didn't bring any preconceived notions to the table, that everything was just the type of person that they were. No, because if you believe in something that, you know, most black people believe in, and that individual believes in something that most white people believe in, y'all two are going to bump heads, and it's a racial issue, not necessarily the type of person that I'm dealing with the issue. So no, I don't believe that, no.
Was it easier or harder dating interracially or not?
No, because I think everything is an education. I think, you know, the main thing is hair.
Womp womp, not funny.
I think, first of all, black men have a problem with learning these things as well. You know, like, you have to learn that, yeah, I have a beautiful wig on right now, but you're gonna wake up with me with a bonnet, right? So.
Well, see, here goes another problem, and this is something that is definitely misconstrued. When the so-called black man had control of his woman, the so-called black woman, she was wearing her hair in a fro and rocked it, might I add, in the late 60s and early 70s until the so-called black woman joined the so-called white women's liberation movement to the point where they started kicking the black man out of the home and accepting government assistance. And with that government assistance being accepted and the black man no longer in the home, the so-called black woman started to look to the so-called white woman as her standard of beauty. And that's where you started to see the blonde weaves, you know, the purple and the pink weaves come in and the wigs. And that's what the so-called black man, who dad wasn't in the home anymore, that's what he grew up seeing. So therefore, since that's all he know, that's all he's accustomed to. And with him being accustomed only to that, when he sees a so-called black woman with her natural hair, he's going to revert back to what he grew up in, seeing his mom in, which is that bullshit weave. So no.
Yeah, I mean, I think all these things are just an educational thing, whether it be race, whether it be men versus women.
Well, this sister doesn't know anything about race, obviously. And when it comes to men versus women, brothers, it should not be a man versus woman. You are the head. That means the things that you say should go. But no, you should never be going back and forth with the woman, especially about her damn hair. I mean, if the woman just doesn't, you know, want to do the things that you want her to do, send on her way.
Whether it be whatever it is, all these things just have to do with education.
Mm-hmm. Angelica, how do you think about interracial dating?
I agree that it's about the education because I actually was engaged to be married to a white man, to an Italian man, and we were together for 8 years. And I have not been in a relationship since.
Damn. What happened? I thought it was a black man who, you know, with a scum of the earth, bottom of the barrel. Damn, what did this white man do to you? And what do these sisters mean that it's about the education? Are you dating other races just to get an education on them? I mean, what the hell? That makes no sense. Are you dating other races just to see what they have going on? Like, huh?
I don't know if I would actually date outside my race again. There is only really one time that I'm against interracial dating, and that is when you're not allowed to bring your full self to the relationship. Because I was in the relationship where I did not challenge my white partner on his anti-blackness.
So only time that you're against interracial dating is when you can't bring your full self to the table, but you didn't challenge your so-called white man on his anti-blackness, which means that you agree with his anti-blackness. So therefore, you two were Confederate in the way that he felt about black men. You felt that same way until he did something to you. Now, you don't know if you would date interracially again, but the only gripe you have with dating interracially is if someone can't bring their full self to the table. Man, this is a big-ass circle. Sis, what the hell are you talking about? Trying to sound educated.
And instead, I internalized the way he looked at the black community, too.
Brothers, these sisters do not love you. They do not love you.
And so we both were in our gated community house thinking, this is what, you know, needs to happen and blah, blah, blah. When I realized that this man was not invested in the liberation.
Liberation? She's a liberal woman.
Of my community, nor my black community, nor my LGBT community.
You see these these type of women, they link black and LGBTQ together. No. See, the so-called black woman looks at herself, the liberal black woman, let me specify, the liberal black woman looks at herself as her own demographic. She looks at the LGBTQ community as their own demographic. She doesn't see everybody as so-called black. She doesn't see herself as a so-called black woman. She sees herself as just a black woman. We have our own thing going on. The black men have their own thing going on, and we are not one. We are not in unison, lockstep together. So therefore, you see them make statements like these that make zero damn sense. But look at her face; she's dead ass serious. But no, anybody with the LGBTQ community is utterly confused. Utterly confused.
But that I was passing. So that means that I'm either going to be with a black man who also has been educated about his anti-blackness.
So either I'm going to be with a black man who is educated on homosexual activities and who knows how to be a mother goddess worshiper, or I'm not going to be with a black man at all. That's what she's getting at. So basically, if you're not a liberal black man, then she's not going to be with you. You have to worship her. You have to love her, protect and correct her. I mean, protect her, not correct nor direct her, but you have to do everything for her while she disrespects you and does her own thing.
And about his misogyny and all those things.
See, she doesn't want to be corrected. She just wants to be protected.
Or I'm going to be with someone who's not black, who understands that, or I'm going to be by my damn self.
Yes, I think the latter option is going to be the option for you.
Now, April, I know you are happily married, but how do you think about interracial dating?
I agree with Winnie. I believe that you should date who feeds your soul.
That's a damn lie. You don't agree with no Winnie.
But who feeds my soul is a black man.
Told you she was lying. She don't agree with no damn Winnie. Not on this topic anyway. The so-called black woman is such a survivalist. She is going to survive. She will blend in to any environment that she's in. She will lie. She'll do what it takes to survive. You know, that's what all due love and respect to the system. Maybe she just didn't want to hurt Winnie's feelings or whatever, but the fact of the matter is she still lied, and when she explains, you'll see that she's lying.
And I'm going to tell you why. I feel like when I think about the trauma that black men have gone through, along with the trauma that a black woman has gone through, we're able to heal each other because we know each other's pain. We know our ancestors' pain. Black men need a black woman, and black women need a black man to help us be better. And because we know each other, we need each other to heal those wounds that were never really treated.
Hey, and just something else I caught on too. The crowd claps for every damn thing, so you never really know what the hell they agree with. But when it comes down to what she just said, the so-called black man really doesn't need anybody but the Most High and, you know, his brother, his like-minded brother, to keep it 100 with you. But it is great to have a helpmeet. And yes, the black woman definitely needs the black man. So, but it's hard for her to get the black man because the so-called black woman doesn't want to play her rightful position. She wants to get in our lane, and therefore we always end up crashing. But as I said, she was clearly lying. She doesn't agree with Winnie at all.
What's up, guys? It's Shamika Sanders here with my lovely co-host Kiara Kelly and guest co-host Africa Miranda. Hey, girl, hey!
Welcome to the table, girl.
Looking fabulous. All this melanin in one spot.
Hey, brothers, as a side note, every race of people has melanin in their skin except the so-called white race. So when you harp on the fact that you have melanin, you're wasting your damn time. It's redundant.
You are watching another episode of Listen to Black Woman starting now. Ooh, child. We're gonna get into today's topic of interracial dating, aka all the black men we see with white women in Hollywood. Just kidding, a little deeper than that.
Nah, sis, you dead ass serious. And hey, you know, with all due love and respect, this sister is shaped like a uppercase P. Big breast, no tail. And she's very opinionated, so I know that it's hard for her to, you know, get black men who are not using her. And, you know, and I'm not even trying to be funny, I'm being dead ass serious. Since you're so opinionated, and, you know, the fact that you try to crack these lame ass jokes, ain't no black man fucking with you like that. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Well, Michael B. Jordan was spotted on a yacht with a bunch of white women, and I mean, he's just been spotted around town gallivanting with a series of white women.
What the hell? How is that your business, though? Do you know him? Is that your brother?
On vacation, he tried to play it off and say it was his bro's girlfriend, but he was canoodling with her. I don't know, all of these things. All of this leading to our question of the week. Why do black women feel so hurt when we see our black men with white women?
Yes. Why do black women feel so hurt when they see black men with white women? Well, I think I know the answer to that. It's because they have a sense of entitlement, and they feel as if everything is supposed to go their way. In the moment it doesn't, they get upset, right? So when they see, when a so-called black man sees a so-called black woman with a white man, she will say some shit like, love is love, love doesn't have any color. But when it's the opposite way around, she gets upset and she's hurt, quote unquote.
Ladies.
I don't like to use the word hurt because I feel that puts too much weight on it. Personally, I am not that sad or affected when I see a black man with a woman of another race, unless he's very fine. And she is not what I really think is, you know, a good match.
So basically, brothers, if you're a handsome, attractive brother and you're with a so-called white woman, then yeah, she's going to feel some type of way. But if you like a piece of shit, she doesn't care. Like I said, brother, this is none of your business. Now, I will admit that when I see a so-called black man or a so-called black woman with a person of another race, specifically the so-called white race, the only time I have a gripe about it is if they're trailer park trash. Like, come on, brother or sister, you could have did better than that. That's my only thought.
But I do question a lot of their choices because when pressed or asked about it, a lot of them have really lame excuses.
Why are you pressing someone about an issue that doesn't hurt you? What doesn't matter to you? How is it any of your business? And you see, brothers, these are the things that I be talking about when I talk about these liberal women, because, you know, they talk in circles. You know, she'll sit here and say, well, you know, it doesn't hurt me. That puts too much weight on it. But when you press them about it, they give lame excuses. Why the hell are you pressing someone about something that doesn't concern you? It makes zero sense to me. I mean, like, if you saw a so-called black woman walking down the street with a white man, and, you know, that's none of your business. Most black men in their right mind, they don't give a damn. They ain't questioning her. They ain't pressing her. Do you, sis?
It's like Michael did the whole thing about milk flavors, and I was just like,
So weird.
right, like just say you like what you like, and this is not it, or this is it.
Well, the thing is, if he just comes out and says he likes what he likes, that P over there in the yellow is going to have a problem with it. And that sister in the middle who has dated white man, she's going to have a problem with it as well. And, you know, she says she has a problem with the excuses that the man gives, but truth be told, they just have a problem in general with accepting the fact that, you know, so-called black men are going outside their race.
My problem with it is that I feel like Michael B. Jordan's fan base has been built on the backs of black women.
How? Were you feeling that way when Michael B. Jordan was in Hardball? Huh? Were you feeling that way then? Oh, what's that other movie he got? Fruitvale Station. Were you feeling that way then? Or did you start to feel that way when he rose to prominence? Stop lying.
And now he's afraid that he's going to lose his audience, so now he's clamoring and he's all these milk analogies, and it's really strange.
That man ain't gonna give a shit about losing no audience, especially not you.
But we see this so often in Hollywood.
Yeah, and we're seeing right through it because all of those types of explanations, they just read as superficial and inauthentic. So it's like, just own it, brother.
Well, you know, as I said earlier, if he did just own it, you two sisters would still feel a type of way. Maybe the sister in the green wouldn't. Who knows? But I don't understand why she feels the need to press someone about something that doesn't hurt her. But if he just comes out and says, this is what I like, I'm not into so-called black women anymore, I know for a fact that the two sisters on the right would feel a type of way. Especially the sister in the yellow, shaped like a wisdom tooth.
I think it hurts me as well, only because I see black partnership as a black investment back into our communities. And when you look...
Well, she just said that, you know, a so-called black man dating a so-called white woman hurts her. But in the same breath, she sees partnership. Hey, brothers, you got to watch out for women who use that word, that P word, partnership. How can you be a partner with someone who rules over you? How can you be a partner with your head? It doesn't work like that. You're the head, she's the follower, period. We're not partners.
Look at our families, you know, the first person you love is your uncle or your father, and you see this example of black men and black women loving each other, and to think that a black man maybe like went through his life without wanting to build that same type of family, it can be very hurtful.
Well, this is, you know, the false equivalency argument that, you know, a lot of people, specifically liberal brothers and sisters, love to use. Oh, your mom is black, your sister is black. Well, every so-called black woman is not my mom or my sister. You know, my mom and my sister, when I was growing up, they carried themselves a certain way. Most black women don't.
And I do think there is this overarching belief that a lot of us are dating and marrying outside of our race. So far, I think it's 89% of the current men who are married are still married to black women.
So if 89% of black men that are married to black women, why are you focusing on the 11% of so-called black men that are not married to so-called black women? I mean, the majority are. So for the few that aren't, let them do them. Mind your damn business. Like, I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
But that does not acknowledge how that statistics has evolved over time, because these new brothers,
The new nigga.
they ain't doing what your daddy was doing back in the day. They on a new wave,
Yeah.
which is a lot of times dating outside their race or this whole exotic thing and stuff.
It's hard sometimes with conversations like these, and I think a reason a lot of black women don't even like to talk about it publicly is because, like you said, you don't want to be labeled as angry or desperate.
Yeah.
And I know personally, I don't want to frame my whole life like around the fact of whether or not some black man opts to choose me or not. But I think it's valid to be able to say this is how we feel, because we're already black women that exist in a world where we are not considered the standard of beauty.
Well, the so-called black woman has put this stigma on her, and she has labeled the so-called white woman as the standard of beauty. She's labeled the Caucasian as the standard of beauty, and I mean, she said, you know, she wants to validate her feelings without being labeled as angry or bitter. Well, sis, if you walked up to me, and you know, I was walking with the so-called white woman, I was in a relationship with the so-called white woman, and you walked up to me, pressing me and questioning me about my choices, what the hell am I supposed to think? How am I not going to think that you are a bitter so-called black woman? I mean, it makes no sense. Can someone explain that to me? What does my life choices have to do with you if they're not affecting you personally? Right? I mean, I keep harking back to it. If the so-called black man sees a so-called white woman, I mean, a so-called black woman walking down the street with a so-called white man, any man that's in his right mind is going to say, that's her business. It has nothing to do with me. I'm going to keep going. We're not walking up to you, pressing you. I mean, that's stupid. It's pointless. And then, of course, you know, if a so-called black man walked up to a so-called black woman walking with a white man, and he started pressing her, what the hell are you going to think about him? Is this nigga retarded? Is he jealous? Is he insecure? Does he hate white men? I mean, does he hate me for dating a white man? I mean, it's so many points. It's so many questions that can go through your head. And with us saying this, you know, it's showing the fact that, you know, so-called black women, they really don't want to be held accountable for the things that they say or do. They just want to be able to do whatever they want to do without being questioned about it. But in the same breath, they want to question you about every damn thing, about all of your life decisions. So, you know, it's something brothers definitely have to keep their eyes open for. You know what I'm saying? Understand these liberal women, because this is them. This is them. You know, they sound educated until you get a man in his right mind and sit down and break the things down that they're talking about. And it's like they usually talk in circles. And you can tell who have a head and who doesn't. It's always pretty obvious, so-called black man.
Yeah. And then to have, you know, the men that look like you and the men that you, like you said, you loved your uncles and your fathers and your brothers, and these men that you grow up thinking that you're going to choose and they're going to choose you back, are getting the same message that, yeah, their sisters and moms and cousins are great, but that's not who they're going to, you know, or necessarily choose or think are, you know, are beautiful. So it is hard.
Like I said, brothers, this is the false equivalency argument that liberals choose to run to. Oh, your mom is black, your sister is black, therefore you should date black. But in the same breath, they fail to realize, or not even fail to realize, they fail to point out the fact that most so-called black women do not act like most brothers' mother. And well, I can't even say most brothers, because a lot of brothers have dragons for mothers. But if you had a good mom, your mom dressed modestly. She always loved you, you know, whether right or wrong, and she corrected you. You know, she sacrificed for you. She, you know, put things on the line for you. Most of these sisters are not going to do that, man. Most of these sisters are selfish as hell, very selfish, and believe everything, the whole world revolves around them. They believe everything and everyone should cater to them and their emotional wants, not even their needs, their wants. So, no, you can't sit here and try to say, oh, because you have a black mom or because you have a, you know, so-called black sister that you should date black. I'm telling you, brothers, if you were raised correctly, then this argument that people use, it slick may piss you off, because it's like, you know, all the so-called black women that I see, they do not act anything like a mom acts. A good mom, I should say, anyway. But, I mean, even still, I'm not one to advocate with going back and forth with sisters, but, you know, if you try to use that same argument, hey, your dad is black, your brother is black, they'll say some shit like, what does that mean? Love is love. Love has no color. So, brothers, basically what I'm getting at is, you know, if you're dating a so-called white woman, brother, that's your business. And, you know, a lot of brothers will try to run to the scriptures and use Deuteronomy chapter 7. But Deuteronomy chapter 7 is talking about 7 nations, and those 7 nations are identified in verse 1. And if you go to Deuteronomy chapter 21, You read verse 10, you will see where the Lord gave commandments on dealing with women from other nations. So.
Now let's see what social media has to say about this. We wrote about this Michael B. Jordan story on HelloBeautiful.com, and we went to the comment section where Tarita M. Ingram said this: I feel like the narrative that black women are affected by it is false.
Whenever a black man has a white woman on his arm, it sends a message that the media and European beauty standards have been sending for years, that repeatedly has traumatized black women for years. It's about the images that we have seen to see and how hard we have to fight to make sure that we are included. That is the problem. Jordan just needs to stop defending his stance. That is why these things get so much attention. Yes, I agree with the latter part of whoever wrote this. I agree with her statement. He just needs to stop defending his stance. If people just minded their damn business, nobody would even care. I mean, the news is a 24-hour cycle. So once the day is over, it's over.
Okay, so we have to kind of qualify affected. I don't think it means we're not sleeping, we're not eating, we're just awake at night going, why is Michael B. Jordan with a white woman?
You probably are doing that shit. Sitting here talking about you hurt because so-called black men date outside of their race. How the hell does that hurt you? It should have no effect on your daily comings and goings.
I did for one night, but okay.
Yeah, and I believe your P-shaped ass too.
The majority of black women are not losing sleep because Michael B. Jordan decided to go on a yacht in Italy with 3 women. I just want to go to Italy, whether or not he's there
or not,
or not. So we should be able to talk about it again without being labeled as angry, desperate.
Yeah. I'm also going to say, I didn't feel like Michael B. Jordan was going to get with a black woman anyway. Did anyone else feel that way? I don't look at Michael B. Jordan and think he's going to be with a sister.
So why the hell does it matter to you then? I mean, brothers, do you see how hypocritical this sister is? Earlier she just sat here and said that Michael B. Jordan felt as if he was going to be losing his fan base, and that his fan base was based off the backs of black women. Now she's sitting here saying that she never even saw Michael B. Jordan as the type of individual who would date sisters. So if you never saw him as that type of individual, why the hell do you care? What does his business matter to you? You see what I'm saying, brothers? How these liberal sisters are just very hypocritical. They always talk in circles. Like, come on, sis, you making no sense. You are making no sense.
There are also some comments on our Facebook page about Michael B. Jordan. Janelle Marie said, I don't have a problem with interracial couples as long as the black women aren't being put down to lift another race up. At the end of the day, let that man be. He's grown.
Thank you, Janelle.
I agree with Janelle.
You don't agree with no damn Janelle.
Thank you. I think that's
fine. I mean,
it doesn't mean I'm not going to side-eye.
Right. Like,
well, if you agree with her, what the hell are you side-eyeing for? You're a damn liar.
I might suck my teeth a bit.
A little.
But again, if you're not, putting us down to live your life.
It just really makes me wonder why they like these white women. You were talking about this too, though.
We have all been conditioned that white is right. From beauty, from success, like that version of whiteness and what it should look like. So whether consciously or subconsciously, these men, and women, like everyone that exists in this society is buying into that.
No. You have been conditioned to believe that white is right. You are buying into that. Everybody doesn't buy into that. Some of us know exactly who we are. We know exactly what to expect from our people. We know exactly what to be looking for. We know how we should carry ourselves. We know what our culture was. The thing is, so-called black man has no culture in this society. Therefore, you see his woman doing whatever the hell she wants. But no, we don't believe that white is right. Every person in this society doesn't believe that white is right. Matter of fact, for the brothers that know who they are, they believe that white is trash. Nothing more, nothing less, and they're at the bottom of the barrel, truly. But in this society, this is their society, this is their rulership, so therefore, they're at the top in this society. But no.
Yeah. And you're fighting every day to really fight against it. And I just think a lot of these men are not fighting it. They think that they're choosing, but really it's being chosen for them.
Okay, so as always, we talked to you guys about this subject, and we asked, as a black woman, do you care when a high-profile black man dates a white woman? With 38% saying yes and 62% saying no. All right, so all y'all watching this, y'all don't care?
The lies! Okay. The lies!
The comments tell a different story.
Right. But apparently y'all don't care. But again, maybe we have to qualify care. Because if they're not awake up if they don't wake up at night thinking about it, maybe they're like, I don't really care.
Okay.
We also asked, we discussed the interracial relationships between high-profile black men and white women because we just like talking about celebrities. That was 42%. 33% said, I don't discuss this. And 25% said, because it further pushes the notion that white is right. We discuss interracial relationships the same way we would on the internet as we do in real life. I think anytime you're navigating these spaces and you see these pairings, you might think or feel a way.
No, everybody who sees these pairings does not think or feel a way. I'm telling you, most brothers in their right mind don't give two shits about, you know, what a so-called black woman who is not their woman is doing. They don't care. You know, of course, you know, we want to see all the sisters living righteously, but, you know, that's not reality, and this is not an ideal world. You know, of course, we all have an ideal world in our head, but this is not that. This is reality. So, no, we don't all feel the type of way. Only those people who like to project the way they feel onto others feel the type of way and try to say everyone feels this way.
It's just on the internet, you have free range to comment on all of it.
These are the people we see. So, I mean, of course, we're going to talk about celeb interracial relationships more than like the man that lives up the street that's married to somebody, because it's not as interesting. We're more invested in these men and in who they choose because they represent what we consider to be the best version of like black men.
Did you hear that, brothers? They believe that celebrities are the best version of so-called black men. Now, tell a brother with some sense and, you know, who has common knowledge of events that goes on in Hollywood, we know that these brothers are these brothers are at the bottom of the bucket as far as the things that they do for fame. But the only reason she said this is because most women, liberal women anyway, they're materialistic. You know, their value comes in stuff, the things that you can purchase for them and how you can do for them. But no, we know that, you know, these brothers in the entertainment industry, they got to get them cheeks clapped in order to rise to prominence. So she can miss me with that. Yeah, she can miss me with that shit right there.
Yeah, so of course we're invested in who they choose.
And I think we're invested in these people's lives. Like actors and movies and sports are escapism for us. So then when these people who we are looking up to escape from us, we do feel away.
And that's the damn problem. So-called black man, you should not be a fan of another man. The only person that you should be a fan of, or the only spirit, I should say, that you should be a fan of is the Most High and his son. But as far as being a fan of a man, hell no. That's idolatry. And as soon as the person that you are into, as soon as they do something that you dislike, it's going to let you down. It's going to damn near hurt you. As these sisters are saying, Michael B. Jordan dating outside of his race hurts them. So no, brothers, you never want to be a fan of another man. That is not manly. It's okay to appreciate the things that a man can do, but no, never be a fan of another man. That's idolatry.
So, I mean, to put it like that, and social media. We're looking at these things every day.
Like,
it's part of our daily conversation.
10 years ago, we wouldn't have known who was on his boat on vacation because we wouldn't have seen it. So now we know how they spend all of their time. So we are then we feel some kind of way about like every movement. When really, if we didn't see it, we wouldn't feel probably as much as good or bad about it.
Right, out of sight, out of mind. So treat it like 10 years ago and mind your damn business. It has nothing to do with you, who Michael B. Jordan is dating. I mean, sis, you basically just cut yourself with that only because you can see it is because you care.
I think the solution here is for black men, date, marry, love black women, which I know is super hypocritical because I've dated white men.
So how the hell are you trying to tell me what to do when your ass has swirled? Sis, fall back. Fall the hell back. There's nothing you could tell me. Ease up. Get out of here. Sirach chapter 1 and verse 29. Be not a hypocrite in the sight of men, and take good heed what thou speakest. Since you're a hypocrite and you're not paying attention to what the hell you are saying. Sister, Africa is looking like, did she just say that bullshit? Yo, man, these liberal sisters are wild.
I have. But one thing I do think, you know, for black women, if we're really hurt about it, we need to open up our vantage point of who we're looking at to date, because they ain't stopping what they doing.
And y'all not stopping what y'all doing. So get the hell on with your bullshit opinion. You a swirler.
So
in 2018, to carry that kind of hurt about men dating outside, black men dating outside their race, that's not going to stop. So I think that one, we can acknowledge how we feel about it, but I think part of it is opening up your horizons and saying, okay, I'm open to love in different places. But it's also, I think, challenging black men. If you're watching this, don't label a black woman that questions or, you know, maybe feels some hurt about who you choose to date and love, and labeling her as being bitter and angry and hating on you and this woman, you know, whatever.
Yeah, well, like I said, if you come up to me and you see me walking with the so-called white women and you begin to interrogate me, I'm going to tell you that you are bitter and that you are hating and that you're an angry black woman, because who I'm dating has nothing to do with you. Nothing at all. So move around.
And also asking yourself, why did you make that choice? Because I think the issue for so many black women is, one is the hurt of seeing it, but it's really more hurtful when you get this really tired explanation of why that's based in us not being good enough, or being a headache, or being this type of personality, or we're not around. You know, so that's for me the issue.
So if you brothers understand what I'm getting at, man, the moral of the story is mind your damn business. These liberal sisters are going to hate. They're going to say whatever they want to say. And so, you know, you liberal niggas will do the same. But for the most part, man, just mind your damn business and let people be. If you see a so-called black man in a relationship with a so-called white woman, or a so-called black woman in a relationship with a so-called white man, just mind your business. It has nothing to do with you. And that's the problem. Our people love to put their nose in other people's situation, you know, without checking out their own situation first. You know, how can you try to tell me about the beam in my eye when you have a mote in your eye? You hypocrite. And as we just saw, that sister in the middle, she was a damn hypocrite. So anyway, brothers, you know, that's the end of that. You know, we just analyzed these two videos, and we see exactly how liberal these sisters were and how hypocritical these sisters were due to them being liberal. So with that being said, brothers, you know how I do it. Yo.
Can't wait to return to our land. We're part of the lost tribes, and now we've been found. Someday we're gonna return back to Jerusalem, shalom. It's time to get ready, yeah. Someday we're gonna return. We are how shine. Jerusalem, shalom, leading the way. We're gonna be kings and queens again, with precious jewels and beautiful garments, sipping on the best wine. In that day, the Israelites don't shine, and I can't wait to see my people so righteous and so holy in our land forever, and to never be destroyed again. Go read the book of Obadiah. The Edomites will never rule again. The Edomites will never ever rule again. Someday we're gonna return. When we get back to our land, back to Jerusalem, shalom. Can't wait to see that golden city. Someday we're gonna return. We'll study war no more. Back to Jerusalem, shalom. When we get back, yeah, bro, I can see it right now. When we get all back, the brothers and the sisters, the Most High and brought us all back together like He said He was gonna do. And I can't wait to see Zion. Yahweh was leading the way, you know what I'm saying? He leading the way. I can't wait to see all of my holy people, all of my people together again. Someday we're gonna return. We're gonna return back to Jerusalem, shalom. Yahweh leading the way. Yahweh shall leading the way. Someday we're gonna return back to Jerusalem, shalom. Stay prayed up to the end when the Messiah returns.